Into your heart. If you cannot go outside, go inside. Tama din naman. Tama din naman.
Our journey. In Psalm 121, it says, He will send the sun to you and give you shade on the right hand, and that He makes sure that no harm will come your way, and that He never slumbers nor sleep. You know, in ancient times, people would think that the moon is very evil. So at nighttime, they're very afraid because of the darkness, because of the moon. So that's why you have the word moonstruck. The moon will strike you, okay? And also you would have the word lunatic. Luna means moon. So the moon will harm you. So they believe the sun and the moon will harm you. They think
It happened to me. I have this because God gave this in the 16 years here staying in Hong Kong. Thank you.
Oh, 16
and I
years.
love you all.
Love you too.
Yes, mamiss ko kayo.
Congratulations, ate. Sisters.
My friend said I visit her after 2 years.
Having me another year in my life.
How old are you, babe? How old are you?
61. She's very
Accurate.
16.
Yes, I am 16. I'm not looking 16. Okay, yeah, I praise the Lord.
Guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Gala Escapades. At nandito ko ngayon sa UCC, United Christian College, dito sa Hong Kong. So may nakita naman ako dito kanina pinapa-incubate. Ayan. Ano talaga ako nito kasi it's part of my, na-train ako sa ganitong mga bagay-bagay. Pero ito nakakatawa lang kasi gamit nila yung kanilang medium. It look like styro siya, tapos pinapatobo yung mga yung mga seeds. Hindi ko pa siya ma-distinguish anong klaseng seeds ito kasi maliliit masyado. Maliliit pa siya, hindi ko masyadong hindi ko masyadong yung seeds, hindi ko ma-identify anong klaseng plant itong tinatanim nila. Yan. Masyadong maliit, mahirap siya i-identify. Siguro siya, radish or hindi naman ito, let's see nang pag na mag-grow na talaga siya. Ito parang iba siya. So masyadong maliit. Maliit masyado. Yan, yung incubation. Ang ganda, pati doon may camera pa siya. Naka-monitor yung camera. So meron siyang camera to monitor the growth ng plant. So, bawat section may camera. Yun. Paganda yan, may camera. 1, 2, 2. Nabubuhay lang siya. Incubation. Ayan, naka-alarm yung sa school. Iwan ko naka-ano doon. Si nabas na. Nag-alarm yung alarm. Saan kaya yun? Hindi namin mahanap. Nagsimula na ang aming paglalakbay papuntang Saikong from Chikitmi. Para kami mga dami nung dala-dala. Dami dala-dala. Video.
Going to Saikong?
Going to Saikong. This is Chikitmi. Dorg. Train to Saikong. Green line na kami. Dito na kami sa Choi Hang. Yan, dito lang mag-exit sa MTR. Naku, may pruta pa rin. Wala agad, pa-cellphone. Ayan, pakyat na.
May space ka. Sa unahan yan.
Dito na kami ni Pastora. Malakas ako. Tabi ko si Pastora.
And so for the past 3 months, starting in February, then March, and April, I went through a summer series on Matthew 24, and that particular title was The Signs of Jesus Coming, part 1, 2, and 3. So what I want to do today is to move into the book of Hebrews. And so you may think that moving into the book of Hebrews,
Jesus,
you're not going to hear anything about the coming of Jesus, right? You would be surprised.
Yeah.
In Hebrews chapter 9, verse 27, and verse 28, it says the following. And the verse that I'm using today is the New American Standard Bible, Hebrews chapter 9, verse 27 to 28. Verse 27 says, and inasmuch as it is appointed for men to die once, and after this comes judgment. So Christ, also having been offered once to bear the sins of many, will appear a second time, for salvation without reference to sin, to those who eagerly await him. So even though I'm no longer going to be focusing on Matthew chapter 24, and although the theme is not necessarily about the second coming of Jesus, the book of Hebrews just mentioned, and I'm going to touch on that when we come to that particular passage. And the passage that was read earlier in the First Thessalonians chapter 4 also talks about the return of Jesus. So this is a truth that is clearly taught in the scriptures. So all of you need to be ready. You need to be ready for Jesus' coming. Okay. The other thing I want to mention by way of introduction, I think I mentioned that already, is that today's passage, I'm using the New American Standard Bible. You're going to be using a different translation, which is fine. And the other one I'd like to mention is that you need to have a pen and a notebook ready to take notes. Okay? Because if you don't take notes, you're going to forget everything I say. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. So I encourage you, every time you come to church, you come with a notebook, with a pen. And the other thing you need to do is to bring a Bible. I mean a physical Bible. Physical Bible. Not just the Bible that you have as an app on your mobile phone. There is a significant advantage
Yeah.
of using a Bible that is a physical copy. Because if you use one that is on your app, you will be distracted. You get emails, you get WhatsApp messages,
Yeah.
you get TikTok, you get what else? You get
TikTok.
Instagram, and you get all these notifications. And when you're trying to read a passage, you're not going to concentrate. You're not going to concentrate. So I strongly encourage you to come to church with a physical copy of the Bible. Because today, none of the passages that I'm going to use is going to be on a keynote. It's not going to be keynote. Okay? None. The other reason for that is that because the passages that I'm using are very long passages. And to put all those long passages in a keynote, it takes a lot of time. And it's better just to have you open your Bible. Okay? So today, the title for this morning's message is called The First Warning. And it's based on Hebrews chapter 2. I'd like to begin. It's a very quick introduction to figure out, to whom was the letter of Hebrews written to. So we have three possibilities. And one is in Hebrews chapter 10. Turn with me to Hebrews chapter 10. And you need to turn to your Bibles. Okay? They just look at the blackboard. Okay? Hebrews chapter 10, verse 32 to 34. It says this: remember the former days, when after being enlightened, you endure a great conflict of sufferings, partly because being made a public spectacle through reproaches and tribulations. and partly by becoming sharers with those who were so treated. For you show sympathy to the prisoners, and accepted joyfully the seizure of your property, knowing that you have for yourself a better possession and a lasting one. We need to go to the other side. Okay, yeah. So you have the first one, the Hebrews chapter 10, 32 to 34. That's one audience. In verse 32, it says, remember the former days when after being enlightened. After being enlightened. It's not like speaking about people who aren't believed. After being enlightened is referring to people who have already believed in the message. Now let's look at another group of the audience. Because every time when we read a passage of the Bible, we need to figure out to whom it was written. No book of the Bible is written to you. You're not the original audience. So you and I need to find out who's the original audience. So that is what we're doing today. So Hebrews chapter 2, verse 1 to 3 is another group. And in verse 1 it says, for this reason, we must pay much closer attention to what we have heard, so that of this creation, how much more will the blood of Christ, who through the eternal Spirit offered himself without blemish to God, cleanse your conscience from dead works to serve the living God. First spoken through the Lord, it was confirmed to us by
Ganda dito sa akin sa fortress. Yan. Ang ganda. Yan, babalik ako dito. Dito pa rin. Hindi pa nagbubukas. I mean, oil. Yan. Pine tree. Shortcut. Ayun siya, oh. Ang ganda, ganda. Ano rin dito, may mga bamboo. Saka ito din siya, oh. Ayan. So, paano ko kaya tinitin? Mag-help ako doon sa pagkakargo. Saan kaya siya panda? Ay, sa dragon pala. Sa dulo pa. Israel. Yung paki Israel.
Sorry.
Ang dami nila. Buti ako kasi pwede lang ako sa bahay. Yan. Ang mga ito hindi kasi sila pwede. Kaya yung mga kalat na ito bulky hindi mo siya maayos ng maayos. Unlike sa akin pwede ko siyang ma-vacuum. Ayan, dami nila dito. Shortcut ako dito. Ay, wala na. Masikip ang daan dito yata ako pwede. And coffee everywhere.